Hey, how's it going there, guys and gals? Welcome back. So I'm out on the Kawasaki, I was going to say Ninja H2 for some reason, but no, this is the ZH2. Of course, I don't have a Ninja H2, I wish I did, but I do kind of have the Ninja H2 on the back of my mind, because almost every motorcycle out there, more notably sport bikes, have a naked counterpart. So the ZH2, of course, is the naked counterpart to the Ninja H2. You've got an MT10 from Yamaha, that is the naked version of the R1. You've got the Z650, which is a naked version of the Ninja 650. The list goes on. There's a lot of motorcycles that have naked counterparts, and they share a lot of the same components. A lot of the time they use very similar engine design, if not the exact same engine. Maybe it's been tuned differently, but the other things like suspension and what have you, usually on the sport bike models, is a little bit better, at least in terms of adjustability, the things that you can do with the suspension if you were to take the bike on a racetrack, for example. I mean, this setup here on the ZH2 is definitely suited more for the street than anything else. But if you are a street rider, why buy a sport bike? Try and justify it to yourselves. Why would you buy a sport bike? Is it because it's cooler? Is it because it's faster? Is it because of this, that, and the other? Have a think about it, because you might actually find that the naked version of the same bike that you're looking at is actually better at what it is designed to do, i.e. use on the street. But so today we're going to jump on the ZH2, we're going to go for a ride, and I'm going to try and give you just a few reasons why I would prefer to actually have the ZH2 over, for example, the Ninja H2. Today's video is just going to be about promoting naked motorcycles. If you haven't tried one before and you're looking at a sport bike, maybe try out something like this. I know it might not have like the street cred or something that a sport bike might do, but hey, I don't know about you guys, but this thing looks like a mean machine. And I mean, you have a motorcycle that looks good, that's awesome, that sounds good, it's perfect for the street, then hey, you've got yourself an absolute winner of a motorcycle. But yeah, let's jump on, let's go for a ride, and let's see where this journey takes us. Whoa. It's been a few weeks since I've gotten on the ZH2, and because it has the electric throttle, kind of had to get used to it again a little bit, if you know what I mean, because they do feel totally different to a cable operated throttle or a cable actuated throttle. So yeah, they do feel a bit different. I mean, that's the thing though, if you're riding this bike full time, or if you're riding a motorcycle with an electric throttle full time, then you'll get the hang of it, really quickly. It's not going to be a problem. But yeah, it's just interesting how different it feels after just a few weeks of riding the ZZR. Okay. So I'm thinking about doing a video about why the ZZR 1400, which is the other motorcycle that we have featuring on this channel, why, is it cool enough? Because obviously some people call it a sport tourer. I genuinely believe that it is a sport bike just because of the way it's how it's designed and how it is shaped and how the seating position, the performance and all that. It is, I don't know guys, but for me anyway, it is a sport bike. But is it cool enough to be a sport bike, if you know what I mean? If you put it up against, say, the ZX-10R from Kawasaki, which is kind of like their flagship sport bike, kind of next to the Ninja H2, of course, would you pick the ZX-10R over the ZZR, or would you have the ZZR? And I think a lot of the time people buy sport bikes because of the cool factor, because they look cool. And hey, there's no denying that a sport bike looks absolutely sick more often than not. Even if you look at sport bikes from like the early 90s, the mid 90s, they still look good to this day, especially when you go up to the 2000s. You put up a motorcycle that came out in the 2000s, a sport bike that came out in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, you put it next to something that came out yesterday or last year, they look very, very comparable in terms of their cosmetics, their aesthetics. Oh, I mean, take a look at our old Honda CBR 600RR. I mean, I think that bike looked absolutely awesome, and yeah, okay, it had some years on it. I mean, it was registered in January of 2004, but it looked like something that came out just a few years ago. It really, the looks held up. And I mean, you know, you kind of wonder whether or not the looks of something like the ZZR 1400, if they're starting to look a little bit dated now. I don't know. I still love the look of it, but just the way how, you know, the way how people think. People want something to look good, don't they? They don't want something to look old, unless you're into that classic look. But yeah, guys, there aren't many reasons why you would really buy a sport bike over a naked, to be honest with you. I mean, especially nowadays where nakeds a lot of the time have very, very similar performance to their sport bike counterpart. And if not, the performance is actually better because it's more suited to the street. I mean, the torque on the ZH2 for me is what makes it just a superb, excellent motorcycle. I mean, I'm sure that the Ninja H2 has got a bucket ton of torque as well, but it's a very, very similar engine. It's almost exactly the same, apart from I think the Ninja H2 is hand built. A lot of the parts are hand built, but it's just, I don't know. There's something about this motorcycle that just makes it just so exciting to ride. And I'm actually in the wrong lane here, so I'm just gonna move myself over a tad. Yeah. The thing is, guys, as much as a sport bike is cool and all, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to ride as well, don't get me wrong there, that, you know, I mean, they're meant to be kind of like the pinnacle of motorcycling experiences if you ride a sport bike, for sure. But think about how you would actually extract, how you could experience that fully. Very difficult to do on the street. I mean, if you are one of those people that rides a sport bike to its fullest on the streets, on roads, everyday roads, you're a mad person. Because even first gear, for example, you're going to be breaking every single speed limit in your country, almost without a doubt. I mean, that is especially true with 1000cc sport bikes, but believe it or not, the 600cc sport bikes can do a very, very similar number in first gear. So I think I managed to get my old CBR 600RR up to 77, 78 miles an hour in first gear, which isn't technically breaking the speed limits because we have an extra 10% on top of the speed limits here in the UK to kind of account for speedo errors and things like that. And bearing in mind that was reading on the speedo, so probably I was more likely doing 75, 74 miles an hour when you count for the speedo inaccuracy. But still, it's ridiculously fast what you can do on a sport bike. But yeah, I mean, another issue that you'll find a lot of people saying about sport bikes, especially for street use, is the fact that their power band is higher up in the RPMs. I mean, so high in the RPMs that you're going to really, really struggle. Oh wow, they've redesigned this. Oh sweet. You're going to really, really struggle to actually get there all the time. A lot of the time people want to be in that power band. That's where you're going to have the most fun on a motorcycle. But on the sport bikes, that's the problem. You're already doing 60 miles an hour by the time you actually get to the power band of something like a 600 sport bike. So it does make it more difficult to enjoy. I mean, I still had a load of fun with mine, to be honest. I really did. But well, I suppose that is an argument against the ZZR 1400 being a sport bike itself, because it doesn't redline that high. It redlines at 11,000 RPM, and funnily enough, oh wow, that is cool. That is so sick. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, the ZZR doesn't have that kind of Formula 1 like engine. It doesn't redline at ridiculously high RPMs. So, but that's the problem, guys. With sport bikes, in order to get the most out of them is to get up to those higher RPMs. And on nakeds, the power is there, guys. The power is there lower down. And a lot of the time, that's why you find that nakeds have a lower horsepower figure than their sport bike counterparts, but in a lot of cases they have a little bit more torque. And it's because they're tuning the torque to be a little bit further down. So you get a little bit more torque, you get a little bit more punch off the line. And for me, for street use, having that punch off the line is more important than having top end speed. You know what I mean? It just makes more sense practically for me. And I know that there are going to be a lot of you out there that are sport bike till the day you die. And hey, I get it. You know, I totally get it. Like, why, if you are into the whole ultimate experience on a motorcycle, then why would you move away from sport bikes? Well, when it comes to hypernakeds, specifically, or not specifically, but especially hypernakeds, I would definitely reconsider. Definitely have a look at test riding some hypernakeds, something like an MT10, something like a Super Duke, something like the ZH2. Honestly, guys, it is so worth it. So worth it. You will absolutely love it. You're not going to be in that sport bike position. I know a lot of people, they absolutely love being in that forward-leaning, aggressive position. And hey, if you like being in that position, then nakeds aren't going to be for you, because you're not going to be in that sport bike position, at least in most cases. I think, was it the old Aprilia 200, the original 200? I think that was literally just an RSV4 with the fairing taken off. So on a bike like that, then yeah, okay. You'll be in that sport bike position probably, but on most nakeds, you're going to be in a far more comfortable commuter-like position, shall we say. Right, let's see if I can figure this spaghetti junction out, eh? God, blimey. They really are digging up a lot. Woo! Oh man, this bike is so fruity. I absolutely love it. It feels so good. And you've just got the power right down low where you want it. You know, whenever you want to just have a bit of fun, all you need to do is, you know, we're at 3,000 RPM, just give it a tug, and you're off to the races. Quite literally. No, it's sick. Anyway, guys, yeah. So I'm just hoping that I will convince just a few of you to have a go on a few naked motorcycles, just simply because of how fun they can be. Oh, road closed. Oh, damn, okay. Fair enough then. So this road's gonna be closed for a whole year. Damn. Anyway, yeah, let's just hope that this video reaches out to a few of you sport bike riders. Just try it. Honestly, just try it, especially a hyper naked. Now, I would say the same about more middleweight nakeds for sure. And despite the fact that they are also absolutely fantastically fun motorcycles, they are lacking in that horsepower department. And you might find yourself getting a bit bored of them sooner than you might like, especially compared to middleweight sport bikes anyway. I think in terms of the experience, middleweight sport bikes have a lot more longevity in terms of rider satisfaction, let's say. I mean, if you take an old 600cc sport bike over an MT-07, then it's going to be tough for you to give up that 600, I think. All right, here we go. Hopefully there's no more road closures around here. Yeah, I mean, one other thing, guys, I suppose, to argue against nakeds as well, is you're not going to be able to get them thick lean angles. You're not going to be able to lean over nakeds anywhere near as much as you are the sport bikes, unfortunately, just because of the lower foot pegs, which are great for comfort, but not exactly that great for fast cornering, let's say. But that's not to say that nakeds couldn't hold their own either. I mean, there was that video, wasn't there? Was it on Revzilla a little while ago, where they did sport tourers versus sport bikes, and on a little track that they had, the sport tourers, I think they ended up either drawing or coming out ahead of their sport bike counterparts, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. I mean, they did a drag race as well, and obviously the sport bikes are going to be a hell of a lot faster than a sport tourer, but actually in terms of maneuverability, agility, getting around corners quickly, you might be surprised with nakeds, for sure. Yeah, guys, just give a naked a go, definitely. Alright, they might not have the looks that you might want out of a motorcycle, but hey, for me, I absolutely love the look of the ZH2. I think she's absolutely gorgeous, and I think if I put a Ninja H2 next to the ZH2, I think I'd be taking this one home again with me. But hopefully one day I'll have that opportunity to confirm my suspicion. But again, I like to take everything that Yami Noob says with a pinch of salt, but recently he got himself a Ninja H2, and in one of his videos recently he did actually say that maybe he'd prefer a ZH2 over a Ninja H2, and that's coming from Yami Noob. This guy is like a sport bike nut. So yeah, I mean, that speaks volumes to me. Whatever you think about him, I mean, hey, if he's saying that about the ZH2, and honestly, it's a fantastic motorcycle right here, as a lot of other hyper nakeds are. And middleweight nakeds, honestly, guys, just give the naked a go, and you might actually be surprised at how well it does and how much excitement it gives you. But yeah, guys, thank you ever so much for tuning in to today's video. As always, leave a like, hit subscribe. Massive shout out to our Patreon members, Lone Wolf UK, Mark W, Dubstyle Gaming. Thank you ever so much for your support. Ride safe, guys. I'll catch you all in the next one.